everyone. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Mentoring Man podcast. My name is Maurice, and I have my dear friend John, of course, here at the side as well. Thank you so much for joining. Hey, John.
Hello, everybody. How you doing, Maurice? How's it going?
I'm doing great, thanks. As you can see in my backdrop, I'm back home, back in the Netherlands. A lot of things happened this past week, so we're gonna have a little chit chat about making big changes in hard times. Because John, we need hard times sometimes, right?
Yes, we do. That's where you grow.
And well, it's how we grow, and it's how we recognize that we can grow, or we have to grow, or we have grown already, right? That's pretty much at least what happened in my situation. You guys know that I've been in Switzerland for a while, and yeah, the reason I'm not there anymore has to do with the fact that we broke up, and that is one of the reasons. And it's just how it went, and it's okay. I mean, I'm okay with it. We're both like agreed that it's better to have our future without each other, even though we had a great time being together. And I actually loved being in Switzerland, and I loved being out there. And I learned that I'm not so connected to home as I maybe thought first, but I didn't really miss my own place and my own being here, right? So that was an interesting insight that I've learned. But there's also been other developments that had made me decide to move back to the Netherlands instead of staying in Switzerland, or find a place over there, or just staying there, right? And it had to do with the fact that my business isn't running as it's supposed to go, as I hoped it would go. So I had to make some drastic decisions in there as well, and had to find a second stream of income there to pay the bills, and have everything being okay, and not going really down the drain, and be financially totally wasted. So, and that's pretty tough in the sense that you have this idea, you have this dream, you have this thought, we're gonna go do this, and we're gonna make it work, and then it doesn't work the way you want it to work. And dealing with that is a mental setback, right? That's a mental hit in the face. Like, okay, so what does it mean? Does it mean that I'm not good enough for this, or that I'm not good of an entrepreneur, or what's the problem here? Why isn't this working? So it's an interesting journey to discover for myself on
Right.
having a goal, having somewhere you want to go, but reality kind of like kicks in, or crisis kicks in, and you're forced to take a different route, and to go somewhere else, and to do different things, and to do this in a different way. So yeah, that was an interesting period for sure. Yeah.
So, how are you adapting to it? How you dealing with? I'm sure there's some regret about the breakup, but how are you getting?
Well, yeah,
Where
well,
are you?
the regret from the relationship isn't that like a big of a deal in that sense. I've learned in the past how to deal with breakups, right? As a dating coach, I'm pretty well known with
Mhm.
breakups, or people rejecting you in that sense. So I kind of like know my way around that, and that's
Yeah.
okay, right? It's almost like this stoic principle that I follow, that whatever someone else decides on what they want with me or from me is not depending on who I am, right? So I am enough. I know that, right? So there's no doubt, or feeling not good enough for anyone, or not feeling good enough to be loved, or things like that. So I'm dealing with that pretty well. I think the biggest chunk that I had to swallow was the fact that my business isn't going as I wanted, right? Because I'm outcome and I think that's an interesting
Mhm.
point of fact there, that I'm outcome dependent on succeeding there, right? You want it to be successful, and with the relationship as well, I want it to be successful,
Right.
of course. But somehow I viewed my relationship in a different manner, that I'm also okay when it doesn't continue. That I know that I'm still going to be okay, and I know that I'm still, be able to be loved, and things like that. But I guess I hold it too much onto the outcome of my business, from fulfilling my happiness. And the thing that I have been learning these past couple of weeks actually is, your state of mind, your happiness in that matter, shouldn't be depending on an outcome, but it should be independent, right? It should be non-conditional happiness, right? And that's hard because we all want things and we feel like if that happens, then we are happy, right? That we want to disconnect it. You want to create your own feeling of happiness, a feeling of content without the condition, even without the condition, right? And that's the part that is putting me through everything, and still waking up every day feeling good and feeling appreciative of everything that I do have and the things that I can, etc. Right? I have a very, very good life. I have a very beautiful home. I have great friends. I got a great family. I'm so thankful for so many things, even though my relationship just didn't work out as I want, and my business isn't going as I wanted. So I really need to disconnect from that condition. I think that's the main lesson here for me. Does that make sense?
Well, Tony Robbins talks. Yes, absolutely it does. Tony Robbins talks about the if-then mentality. If this happens, then I'll be happy. And that's wrong. You got to have to be happy. Now, it's even not right, because happy is external. Are you?
Well, you make happiness external then, yeah.
So this is a test. Yeah. Happiness is on the outside. Joy is on the inside, So can you be joyful and fulfilled with the things that you have now? And this is a test they're going through. And I'm going my own way right now for a different issue, not from a relationship standpoint. Well, the relationship with me, my health, I got a couple of health issues going on, and I have had for a while. And you are privy to that. You know what's going on. And I've tried different programs and different diets and all kinds of stuff. And, well, you know the story that I was in a hospital on Thanksgiving weekend because my diabetes went crazy, and I ended up with pancreatitis and ended up in the hospital for 5 days. And I down to my doctor was pretty impressed, but I'm not losing weight. And it's like, no matter what I do, I can't do it. And I have heard of a program. There's a group out there called Mind Valley, and there's a program in there called WildFit, and WildFit is getting ridiculous success levels because it changes the mindset of your diet. It's literally a lifestyle change, and the results are incredible. And I wanted to do it, but I always came up with excuses why I can't. And then I went to my doctor last week, Friday. I went to my doctor for a checkup just to see what was going on. And she said to me, everybody sent over to WildFit within 90 days. If you want to turn this around, go on WildFit. My doctor said this. She didn't prescribe me any more pills. She's not taking me off the medications that I'm on, but she didn't prescribe anything else. She said to me, get on to WildFit. I said, all right, this is a sign. I got to do this now. And I signed up for it yesterday. And the first class is actually tonight. Huh?
I said you got a good doctor there.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I really like her a lot. And so I'm saying it live on our show. 90 days from now, I am not going to look what I look, making a commitment to you, to myself first. I'm making a commitment to you and to all of our listeners from now. I'm going to be the person. You wait and see. It's going to happen. Because I'm done being sick. I'm done being overweight. I'm done with the aches and pains. You're done with the shit you're going through. I got my own shit we're going, and it's time to do something. And that's the key to getting out of this. Right? I'm in a winter right now with my health. You're in a winter right now with your issues. Spring always follows winter, but what are we going to do about it? And
exactly.
You know what? We're doing something about it. We're doing it.
Absolutely. Well, congrats on that decision, man. I think it's a great great thing because I know WildFit. I know the work of Eric Edmes, so
Thank you.
I'm a big fan of his. I actually borrowed his story many times of the captivated elephant diet. I don't know if you've heard that story, but it's a great
Yeah,
program. I'm
yeah,
sure. Do you want to
looking
share the
forward to
story?
it.
Because I think it's very,
Yeah, it
very,
starts
very
in about
interesting.
2 hours. So I'm thrilled. No, go right ahead.
The story he shares, and it's really about
I've
how
heard it, but
how
you've shared
food.
it before, so you're correct.
Ah, okay. Well, the story goes that um, he was in an airplane reading this article about elephants in a captivated situation back in the day, right back in the 1900s, first times when elephants were at circuses and zoos and things like that, and they only got to an age of like 7 years old, and well, that was just how it was. I mean, an elephant doesn't live longer than 7 years probably then, right? That's what they thought. And then they discovered in the wild that an elephant actually gets up to an age of 70. It's like 10 times, right? So what's the difference? And they were interested to know that, of course, for the well-being of the elephant, not so much that they have a business case which is 10 times better. You don't have to buy a new elephant every 7 years. But what they discovered is that the diet of the wild elephant was a different diet than the elephant in captivating. Sorry, still, it's not COVID, so don't worry. You can sit close enough. But yeah, so what they discovered is that it's a different diet, and this article was saying, so there's a different diet for the wild elephant than for an elephant in captivation. So when they changed that diet, of course, the other elephants also turned 70. And he remembered, he said, I don't get it. There is no diet for captivated elephants different from an elephant in the wild. There is no wild elephant diet. There is an elephant diet, right? There is no captivated elephant diet because there is just one diet for an elephant. That's just the elephant diet. Just like there's a monkey diet or a
Right.
whale diet, right? There's no different diets. But still, you and me, human beings, we have all kinds of different diets. We also have different types of diets. So what's with that? And that's pretty much where WildFit came from. He's an anthropologist, I think, and he studied. He has been with people in the Amazon area and studied people and how they had their food and what they did, and he discovered that so many people living in their old human diet, right, not the Western standard diet, which is containing a lot of processed food, of course, people actually lived longer, had no cancer, had no diabetes, had no health issues that we are having, right? They were dying because they had a wound in their arm because of hunting and it got inflamed, and that's how they died, because of some sort of bacteria, right? But not because they didn't eat the right food. So that's pretty much where WildFit came from, and WildFit really goes back to the human diet, right? So you don't have all this processed food, and you take care of the type of macronutrients. And this is something that I've been learning in my own journey as well. There, that it's not so much about food being there for our comfort or our social events, and it's going to be fun and it tastes so good. The function of food is to create energy and building blocks. That's the only function it has, right? It has to feed your body so your body can build and body can create and can live and survive and do the best for you. And that's what I've been doing with my diet as well. And that's what made this big drastic change there as well. And actually, I didn't follow the WildFit diet myself because I chose at that time to go for the more ketogenic diet. But I believe that their diet also has a lot of elements of the ketogenic diet in there as well, at least lowering your carb intake in a day, and make sure that you use also ketones as your energy source in a way. But I'm not sure. So please, if you have things you can share in the future, I'm very, very interested to hear more about that as well.
Absolutely. I'm thrilled about this. You know, I don't know if you know who Jim Quick is, but
Yeah, of course, the brain guy.
he was, yeah, the brain guy. He was talking about that if you learn and teach it to somebody else, you get to learn it twice. Enforces it in your mind, which
Yes,
is, repetition, right? Just repetition. So if I learn something, I will absolutely share it. I will absolutely share it.
it's it's interesting you
So
say
yeah,
that
I'm
actually
looking
because
forward to
it's
this
it's so much
quest too, and
how
I'm
I.
looking forward.
Yeah, if it's interesting you say that from learning perspective. Everything that I read and like what's interesting to me, right? What I feel interested in, I read it so with this idea that I can explain someone else. And if I talk to a friend or whatever, and I can't really explain it, I know that I haven't gotten it really to the core. So it's also a good trick for you guys if you're reading something and you're learning
Right.
something, try to explain it to a friend what you've just learned. And if you're like stumbling your words and you're not really getting to the essence, or you're like, then you know that you haven't studied enough. So that's a good technique you can use for yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, Jim Rohn. Also, Jim Rohn is another transformational coach who passed away many years ago, actually. He was Tony Robbins' mentor.
Yeah.
And, he talked about, he said, you're not a tree. He said, if you don't like where you are, you can get up and move. He said, but it relates to your health. It relates to your finance. It relates to physically where you live, what house you're in. It relates to your relationships. Absolutely not a tree. But you have to make the choice
Yeah.
before the choice is made for you. It's easier when you make the choice yourself. I don't want to get myself
Absolutely.
to the point where um, I'm no longer capable of making that choice for my health. So it's time.
Yeah.
It's time, and I'm excited about it. I'm nervous. I am nervous because I know I'm going to be my life, but I'm more excited about the possibility of getting healthy again and getting in shape again, and getting my sexy back. I mean, I'm sexy anyway. I mean, I want to look good. I want to feel better. And
Sure. And that's
this
great.
is going to be a nice. I'm more excited about the opportunities than I'm scared of what I have to change, because that's the problem. So many people don't want to change, and that's what
Yeah,
it
but
takes to
that's
grow.
that's logical, right? We don't want to change because change is something unknown, and we don't like the unknown. Our subconscious mind don't like the unknown. So we got this question from Facebook user, and I think I know which one this is because it's my good friend Johan. Also is big on chess at this moment, and he says, how can we the best use hard times to our benefit? I want deep into learning chess next level. Well, the thing, what we're talking about here is, using the hard times. We all need these hard times sometimes to understand where you are and to reflect on where you want to go to, right? So if I look at myself, I think the hard times that I'm having right now is really an internal journey where I discover where my strengths actually are and how I can move forward to those strengths and make them even stronger, or build on the areas that I'm not so familiar with or not so strong on, right? So that's pretty much where I'm using my hard times to create an overall better life, and really dive into the aspects of life that I want to improve. So I'm not sure if that helps with your deep learning in chess, and if you need per se always dark times for a reason to start learning something new or start diving into something more deeply. But it definitely is often a trigger that you are forced to look at yourself again, right? But there are two types, right? You either learn from the fact that you have a dark time, right? That is a hard time right now. So that's like the Satori and Kenji moments. These moments, which it's also from Mindfully, a term that I've learned, the crisis, right? The hard times where you learn, or you have this insight that you think, this is this specifically thing, and I really want to learn this because I really want to learn this. I really want to know more about this. So having these is even more beautiful, right? You don't need the hard times to discover that you want that. So I guess, Johan, for your learning chess, you might use it there as well to just accept that you're not as good as you want to be, and you want to grow better. So dive into how you can learn that. Have anything to add on that, John?
Yeah, absolutely. If I've never played chess, so I don't know about the game, but I do think if I remember correctly, it's a game about strategy. So if something happened, if something went sideways, if something is where you want it to be, you can look back and do differently next time. What can I do in my control? You can have, you can plant the the fields, right? And you can grow the crops. And the day before you go to, collect those crops and do the hail and wipes everything out. That was in your control. But what can you do about it next time? It's how you deal with it. It's how you react to it and how you plan for it the next. What else can I do differently to from happening again?
Yeah, absolutely. There's also Barry. Thanks for watching. Have you ever read a book called "Who Moved My Cheese?" He said. I actually haven't read that, so enlighten me if what that book's all about, Barry. I don't know, John. Have you read it?
No, I have not. Hey, Barry, thank you for joining.
Yeah, great to have you here, and thanks for joining here
Barry,
and being part of the group. So let us know more about
Barry,
that.
who's the author of the book?
Good question. Who's the author of the book? I have no idea, but then we maybe can dive into that.
Yeah.
It's all about change and different people reactions to it. Great. It's an interesting read, something like that, right? And change is something that is natural and unnatural to us. We never want to change because our subconscious mind is all about focusing on what is known and what can we predict, right? But change is part of life because everything changes every day, single day. So sometimes we just have to change. And people react on different ways on that because we have different ways to cope with the reality that we see. In the end, it's all about how we respond to the reality and what makes the reality our perspective and how we see it. So, yeah, interesting to see. I'll definitely put it on my to read list there. Thank you so much. Thanks so much, Barry, for sharing that with us. So,
yeah,
John,
so I'm on Amazon Audible right now. Hey, hold on. I got Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer Johnson, MD. Dr. Spencer Johnson who wrote Who Moved. And it's also available on audiobook. So
cool. Great. Well, I think in general, we could say that having the hard times is part of life, right? And just to show that even us who are in the business of change, right, in the business of mental growth and helping our customers and clients to grow into what they want to be and how they want to change, and we still struggle ourselves. We all have our own battles to fight sometimes, right? And life always hits you in the face. But I think the most important part of this is that we need hard times so we can understand what the beauty of life is when you don't feel the hard times. And it makes everything relative as well to how good your life actually is. So, like I said, it's the mental game of distracting you or disconnecting you from the results and be unconditionally happy. Or feel joy every day when you wake up, and be very conscious and aware about that. And that's what I practice every single day. And that's why I'm not depressed or don't feel sad or actually feel very good. So, Got anything to add on that, John, before we close off?
Yeah. Absolutely. Set your intentions. Just break the small ones. Set your intention. Today, I'm going to have a good day. When you wake up in the morning, affirmations, intentions, say thank you. Thank you for another day, whoever it is you believe in. Say thank you for another day. Start there. Set an intention. Today's going to be a good day. Celebrate the small wins. You didn't have any traffic on the way to work today? Awesome. Congratulations. Fantastic. Put a check in the win box for the event.
Yeah.
Every time something goes right, a little in the win box. It adds up. You start to stack the little ones, they become big ones. And after a while, once you get the big ones, then you start to say to yourself, what else can I do? What else is possible? What else is out there? I'll celebrate, especially when you think you're in hard time. When you are in hard time, you have to cut yourself a little bit of slack here. You know? Small wins, all the wins, celebrate all the wins. Take responsibility when things go sideways, because that's just being honest. Break the wins. And that's where it starts to stack with what can I do to make today a great day? What can I do to make the next hour a great hour? What will light you up? Look for the things that are going to put you in the right frame of mind, the right state of mind. It's okay that hurt. It's okay to shed a tear and cry and feel all those emotions. It's not okay when you stay there and it starts to control you. So break that cycle, break that pattern. So it's a good place to start.
Yeah, well said. Well said, my friend. Well, thank you guys for being here with us live and sharing these elements of our life, and we hope that the pain that we feel or the hard times that we encounter is also inspiring for you guys to keep pushing and keep going forward and doing what you love. So thank you so much for being here, being part of this group. We're almost at 100 members, or are we already over the 100? John, I haven't checked the last couple of hours, but we're nearing at least the 100.
Let me take a look.
We'll take a look.
Let me take a look. See where mentoring. Are you ready for this? We are at 99 members. We're at 99. Well, we're almost there.
Then my question to you guys is, watching this, if you're watching this, go ask one single friend that you think will also benefit from learning new experiences and growing into their life so they can create a better life for themselves, and invite them into the group and make this community even bigger and greater than it already is. So guys, thank you so much for joining us here. We look forward to talking to you next time, and stay safe, take care, and we love you guys. Thank you so much.
Talk to you. Be good.